Pachi. Hi, today with Chef Pachi, we're gonna learn some delicious recipes for kids that we can make with all that leftover pumpkin that we're gonna have from Halloween. And we're gonna start with some muffins. So we're gonna make them with oat flour, it's 1.5 cups. So there's one. And here comes the half. Oops. They are really simple. They have flour, a little bit of baking powder, baking soda, and some pumpkin spice that if you don't have it, I'll give you the recipe so you can make it. But it's really easy to find. Cinnamon and vanilla. That's it. And some coconut oil, which, by the way, it's important to buy the coconut oil that says it is not purified. Because if it is purified, it's oxidized. So here we have a virgin coconut oil, and that's the best to use. So let's start adding the rest of the dye ingredients. Our baking powder, our cinnamon. And this is a delicious Ceylon cinnamon, which I don't sell any of these things. Half a teaspoon of the pumpkin spice. And half a teaspoon of vanilla, which we are going to add to our liquid ingredients. If you want to, you can add just a pinch of salt. It is not necessary, but it's going to make them sweeter. And remember, they don't have any sugar, so it kind of helps to bring out the flavors. Now, we are going to mix the wet ingredients. What I do when I need bananas for banana bread or for cakes or for muffins like this to help me sweeten naturally is that I place the bananas in the oven for 10 minutes while the oven preheats, and then it becomes like this. I mash it, and this is it. So here we have our mashed banana. So here we have our banana that was cooked in the oven, and it became sweet and just ready like a ripe banana. We are going to use this for our muffins, cakes, and everything I do, because not always do I have the ripened bananas ready for my recipes. So here we have our mashed banana. And we measure it only because bananas come in different sizes, but it's almost one banana. I'd say one banana is half a cup. So there we go. And now we're going to add 1/3 cup of our coconut oil. Two eggs. Sometimes, you know, the eggs that we buy that are organic or farmed are small, and sometimes they're larger. I tried to pick up the biggest ones, but we'll see if it needs a little more hydration once we have the recipe all done. And you're going to think today, why do I have a ring on? I have a ring on because I want to measure in my O-ring, which I don't sell either, what happens when I make the videos. Now we are going to mix all this. Mix them together, place them in a bowl, and I was missing the most important ingredient. Our puree, our pumpkin puree. What I did was that I peeled it, cut it into pieces like this, and then pureed it in a blender. Let me measure the cup. We're going to use a cup of pumpkin puree, which we can use. Here we have our cup of pumpkin puree. And now we're going to mix our ingredients. So we're going to mix this, our wet ingredients first. This is the easiest way to mix when your bowl's not that big. And when you want to get like oil mixed with other things, because oil usually wants to separate. But when you mix it first like that, you don't make a mess. And check this out. Now we have a nice, smooth paste. And we are going to mix our dry ingredients like I usually do with a fork. And this is our muffin mixture. We're going to put it in a buttered pan to make mini muffins. You can make larger muffins with these, but I think it's better when we have friends or parties to have small ones so that they can taste everything at the party and don't get filled up with only one of the ingredients. So the egg, I think, was a little bit small, so I'm going to use an egg white. Just to help it out. Now it looks like a muffin mix. So in case your eggs are tiny, just use 2 eggs and 1 white. Why do I use the white instead of the yolk? Simply because it's a little bit more liquid. It's actually more protein, and the ingredients are already mixed, because the egg yolk, what it does is keep together the oils and the non-oily ingredients, but it's perfect. We have this beautiful mix that we're going to put in our mini cupcake pans. I'm going to add some spray to our pan just in case they stick, but they shouldn't, because this is, let's do it only on half of the pans and see what happens. Well, they shouldn't stick, but let's take a chance. Let's take a chance and see what happens. You can also make them in paper, the little tiny paper cups. If you're taking them somewhere and you want them to put them in a box, it might be easier to have them in the paper cups because they hold better during the movement of the car taking and coming and going. Now we're going to bake them at 375 because they're smaller. If they were larger muffins, the regular 2.5-inch ones, I would do it at 350. So here we come with our delicious muffins that are something that even moms are going to love. Here are our delicious pumpkin muffins that are going to be the king and queen of the party. Look at them. They bounce perfectly, they are tender, and they are going to be great. And we have them on both sides, so we know that we didn't need to add spray to the pan because they just don't stick with or without the spray or the butter if you do butter and flour.